ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Om, may He protect us both. May we both enjoy together. May we both exert together. May our studies become brilliant. May we not become disputatious and hate each other. Om, peace, peace, peace. Welcome back to the online classes. It's basically very easy. In the COVID times, you're not allowed to shake hands with anybody. You're not allowed to embrace anybody. So what you do is you do a namaskar. This is the way you do namaskar. I'll explain it to you. So this is one hand. This represents the body, the physical body. This represents the mind, which is filled with emotions, reactive by nature, and likes and dislikes. It's made of likes and dislikes, raga, dvesha. This is the intellect, buddhi, that which makes us think and differentiate between what is right and what is wrong. This is the arrogatory power within us, which claims that everything is mine. This is mine, this is mine, this is ego, represented by this finger. All these things, this represents I am doing everything, which in Sanskrit is called Kartrutva Bhavana, and I enjoy, I am the enjoyer, I enjoy everything, which is called Bhoktrutva Bhavana. So this represents the ego. This is the thumb. Though it is a part of a hand, yet it is apart from the hand. This represents one's self, the spirit matter within us, the Atman. The spirit matter within me, the ego that makes me what I am, and intellect, mind, and body, this represents my personality. Similarly, this same functions, body, mind, intellect, ego, and the self in you is your personality. Your personality and my personality, both are the same. Both are driven by the same power. And to that superpower, to that divinity, I bow my head. That is the explanation of namaskar. So I tell, bring this hand, come together, and you bow. This is namaskar. You tell me, yes, sir. This is hand, bow. No, listen. This hand, don't hit hard. Don't go for clapping. Just touch and then bow. So, yes, sir, that's what I'm doing. See, I'm putting the hand. I don't know, sir. You people are really special. Because when you are doing it so softly and so nicely. But when I am doing it, it's making a sound. When spiritual people are doing action, there is no sound. there is only divinity. When the so-called worldly people are doing action, the sound or so-called the effect is created. So the student of the world, he says that, can you explain to me how to do this softly so that there are no more effects? Of course. And that's where the manual of the Bhagavad Gita comes, to teach us how to do everything nicely. You have to do action. There is nobody in the world who stays without acting. Only a corpse or a dead body does not act, or a person in coma. Otherwise, whenever you are facing the world, your eyes are open, you are acting, you have to act. The only thing is, what is the secret of the right kind of action? This is a beautiful verse which we are going. It's explaining beautifully about what an ignorant person does and what a knowledgeable person does. That's all. We'll chant this verse once. Sakta karmanya vidvamsah yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvams tatha saktah Chikirshu loka sangraham. O Bharata, O the great dynasty, coming from a great dynasty, Bharata, as a vidvamsaha, the unknowledgeable, the ignorant, as the ignorant act attached to action, so should the wise one act, unattached, wishing the welfare of the world. Ignorant, ignorant, ignorant throughout the Bhagavad Gita, throughout majority of the scriptures, it's written ignorant. So majority of the worldly people say, oh, all the worldly people are ignorant. So I belong to the world. So I also belong to ignorant. Ignorant, Gyan and Agyan. Ignorance and knowledge are just different in degrees. Why I'm saying this? Because as a spiritual student, if you are really interested in your own growth, then one thing should be an underlined aspect in everybody's life. We should never put other person down, saying that that person is more ignorant and now I am having a knowledge because I've studied a little bit. That's where the ego comes and puts people down. So you have to be very careful not to put anybody down. So what is it? It's just a matter of degree. What you don't know, perhaps to 10% more of scriptures, I know. What I know is perhaps 10% of the scriptures of some other Mahatma. So it is a matter of degree. So when a knowledgeable person looks down to anybody, to any person for that matter, and if that person is acting or asking a question which is like, so people feel, why should I ask a question? It is so dull. It is so lame. I'm not supposed to hurt the other person. Don't even get into that. So a knowledgeable person should always think from this point of view, where he or she is. I was perhaps worse situation than what they are. If you go through the lectures of Swami Ramatirtha, he actually says, if a person like Rama, he addresses himself as the third person. If a person like Rama can achieve this state of God realization, then what to talk of people like you who are so far and more intelligent than me? That attitude. So idea is to raise everyone to come to that level, but never put anybody down. If you put anyone down, either because you are physically more able than the other person, or you are more in your emotional control than the other person, or you are equipped like a donkey with more ideas and ideologies about what Shastra than Vedantas are than the other person, then you are having more ego. Then you don't have knowledge. You have more ignorance than the other person, perhaps. So this is the difference between knowledge and ignorance. So How does an ignorant person act? A person who does not have the knowledge at present. Act attached to action. He is attached. Any activity the person does, he gets attached. I go to school, I get attached to my school friends. I grow up, I get attached to my college friends. Then I move ahead, I get attached to a job. Then I move ahead, I get attached to a family, a wife, children. The attachment keeps on moving, 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 but whole throughout life, I get attached. Then the children grow up, now nobody's there, so I'm attached more in accumulation of wealth. Then the children really grow up, I fly out of the coop, they move away from the house. Now I'm alone. Now what you are attached to? Attached to my worries and anxieties. Some attachment or the other is there constantly. And nobody wants to leave this attachment. What is the difference of this attachment is we are holding on to things with an attitude that if I leave this, what will happen? That's attachment. I will not allow you to grow, and I also don't want to grow. A particular set of situation and circumstance is existing at present, which is very conducive for me. See this. A particular set of situation or circumstances is at present there, which is very conducive for me. I don't want it to change. And I don't want you to change. Holding on to things and beings as if they are permanent. When this happens, you get hits, royal hits you get from nature. In the Himalayas, this is again an example of Ram Tirtha. When a rishi is meditating, he's sitting peacefully under a tree and trying to meditate. There are a lot of monkeys chattering around, running around here and there, here and there. And especially one monkey is constantly very mischievous, running around and he pulling his hair, pulling and then running away. So they have a method of catching this monkey. What they do is they have a vessel which is called a kamandalo. So it's like this, and the neck is very narrow. And inside that, they put a lot of chana, okay, peanuts, chana, and they keep it by the side. And none of the other monkeys come, but this mischievous fellow, he comes because he wants to do mischief anyway. So he comes and slowly he sees it's chana and this person is meditating. He puts his hand inside the vessel and holds it like this. He takes a fistful of chana. When he's taking the fistful of chana, he can't get his hand out. That is the time when that rishi sees that monkey, takes a small stick and beats it. Not hard, okay? Just patting it as a punishment not to come. And that fellow cannot climb a tree because in one hand he's got that thing. And he keeps on running around. And he's bound. Bound by what? His own hand holding on to the chana. And after various hits, one hit, two hit, he's not leaving. Three hit, he drops in a little chana. Still his hand cannot come out. Then again, they slowly, pat, 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 so that next time he doesn't disturb. At last, he drops all the chana and his hand is free. Ram Tirtha gives these examples. He says, until you hold on to things, holding on not outside, within myself, you will never be free. It's impossible. So all that holding on is what causing me trouble. This is the way it should happen. Just give it, leave it. Lord Vishnu has got four hands, Chaturbhuj Vishnu. In one hand, he's got the lotus. Second hand, he's got the conch. Third hand, he's got the gada, the mace. And fourth hand, he's got the Sudarshan Chakra. Symbolically represented about what happens to the whole humanity. The lotus represents the peace in my heart. That Paramatma, that divinity in which I am always there, existing. This is everybody's heart. That divinity is there everywhere. If you can't understand that, then please listen to the conch, the shankar, which is inside me, which is called the subtle noise, which tells me what is right and what is wrong. What is wrong, let the whole world do it. But I am not going to do it. What is right, let nobody do it. But if it is right, I will do it. That voice, inner voice, which says, be careful, don't deviate from the path. That is the Shankar. If you listen to the Shankar, you will reach Padma. Padma means lotus, the divine state. All the noise of the Shankar is very clear. Therefore, morning 5:30, all the temple, it's very, very clear. It's not clear when the traffic is on. So similarly, when the traffic too much is on here, too many desires gurgling inside, then the voice of the Shankar conch is subdued. It is broken down. I'm no more hearing the voice now. All I hear is, this is what I want to do, that is what I want to do. I want to achieve this, I want to achieve that. That's all, whole life. When that happens, when the desires take over, then the next step, Lord Vishnu says, is Gada, mace. You get the knocks and the shocks of life. You get hit right, left, and center. Shoulder pain, head pain, back pain, knee pain, whole body. Somewhere down the line, everything pains, right, left. These are the knocks and shocks of life. What you have? I have blood pressure, sir. Congratulations. What about you? Asthma. Nothing. No, I don't have blood pressure and asthma. Thank God for that. I got only diabetes. Something or the other. These are the knocks and shocks of the highest principles telling you, you get in line. Otherwise, there will be trouble. You get in line, go through the higher principles of life, study the real good books, maintain satsang. Slowly, the noise of the desires will go down. You will start hearing the Shankar from within, and then you will reach your state of Paramatma, the lotus, Padma. If you don't listen to the knocks and shocks also, consuming medicines constantly, but living in the same way you are going to live, in ignorance, then Sudarshan Chakra, your personality is annihilated. That's it, finished. Our whole problem is we wait for that annihilation or a state before that to achieve an understanding what my real personality is. So these ignorant people are completely attached to action. They don't have, they take everything as real. Everything is real. Therefore, situation should not change. Therefore, this relationship of mine is real. Therefore, this body of mine is real, and you get attached to it. What is real? Nothing is real. Everything is temporary. But I don't understand that. So as an ignorant is attached to, therefore, knowledge, Vedanta knowledge always flows from the known to the unknown. So Krishna is not saying, listen, you take a higher goal in life. He doesn't start with that, though it is correct. He starts with what we know. What we know, we get attached right, left, and center. We get attached to school, we get attached to college, we get attached to office, we get attached to parents, we get attached to children, we get attached to wife, husband, we get attached to Rotary Club. And when everything goes away, we get attached to a spiritual institution. Which institute, which teacher you are listening to? Oh, I am listening to this teacher. Acha, 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 acha. How many people are listening to this person? Maybe 100, 200. Oh, ho, ho. Because you know, my guru, na, lakhs of people are listening. How many ashram your teacher has? Just a clue. Lord Krishna did not have a single ashram. Swami Ramatirtha was given money by the king of Tehri to build an ashram. And he proclaimed, all mission is my mission. I don't need anything of my own. Then my ashram. I left all my relationships to get this thing, my ashram, my teacher. You get attached to that fellow, man, woman, or child. Understand and function in the world. How to function in the world? As the ignorant acts attached to action, every action he gets attached. This is the way, this is the right thing to do. You don't eat non-veg, you have to eat only vegetarianism because vegetarian is good. Correct. Correct. Do it. You do. You do it. No, but they are not doing. That's their problem. Educate and leave. Suggest and leave. Let the other person live. You will live. That's the way you go. So ignorant people get attached to action. This is the way we should go on. This is the way. There is no way for anybody. What is good for you, you do. That's all. Don't get into this superiority complex of how good you are, how sattvic you are, or an inferiority complex of I'm not reaching anywhere, I don't know what to do. Either I'm bad or I'm super good. Can't you just be normal? Try to be. It's very interesting if you be. Okay. So as an ignorant act attached to action, so also should the wise person act. Wise person will also. So in the same world, the ignorant person is also acting. In the same world, the wise person is also acting. Only difference is what? The wise person is unattached. He also acts unattached. Why unattached? What gets attached? The wise person understands, I am the supreme reality. That supreme self which functions through me. That power, I don't know what that power is, but that huge power is functioning through me. So my original identity is that power, which doesn't have death nor birth. Then that identity passes through this dabba compartment of body, mind, and intellect. This body, mind, and intellect has a birth, change, modifications, and death. Agreed? Every given point of time as a human being, I have been offered this choice to either identify with the supreme reality, which doesn't go through any changes, or identify with this body, mind, and intellect. If I get identified with this body, mind, intellect, then whatever happens to my body happens to me. I am in pain. You'll not say my body is in pain. Mind is agitated, sir, I can't attend the class. It will never be my mind is agitated. Because as soon as you say my mind, you become the possessor, and the mind, body, or intellect, or anything for that matter, becomes the possession. But when I identify with that self, no birth, no death. Therefore, whatever happens to the body, mind, and intellect doesn't happen to me. Wise person understands that. He identifies there the self spirit functioning through the body, mind, intellect, and that spirit takes another form and functions in the world according to its obligations, what it chooses. So I have a father, mother, brother, sister, husband, wife, children, rat, dog, cat, servant, all whatever you have around you, you have to relate. I am a human being. When I relate with my husband, I become a wife. I am a woman. When I relate with my husband, I become a wife. When I relate with my father, I become a daughter. When I relate with my father, I become a daughter. When I relate with my office, I become a boss. If that lady is a CEO or something. According to the world, the entity comes up. According to the world, the entity comes up. In relation to my daughter, I become a mother. So one woman becomes a wife, becomes a daughter, becomes a mother, becomes a boss. These are the roles which this lady, woman, is playing. This woman being the center, these are the roles which are temporary. So wife according to the husband. So something happens to the husband, imagine a divorce or a death. What happens to the wife? Nothing, because the wife is non-existent. Who suffers? The woman or the wife? Who suffers? The mother or the woman? Who suffers? The daughter or the woman? Who suffers? The boss in the office or the woman? The woman never suffers. All these roles we are playing, we get identified stupidly to these roles and we suffer. A wise person understands that, an ignorant person doesn't understand. So ignorant person gets attached to these various roles which I am performing and keep on bleeding tears whole life saying this is what has happened to me. So I'm thinking as a mother, as a father, as a brother, as a sister, as a husband, as a wife, as a student, as a guru, everything, all these are nothing but roles. And nothing happens to it. They are non-existent. What is existent is the personality behind those roles. This happened, true story. In Calcutta, Swamiji gave this example. There was this play going on, and the play was Othello. In that Othello, everybody knows the story. I'm not getting into the details of it. Othello finds, or he falsely finds and frames his wife that she is having an affair with one of his best friends, Cassio. And he gets so angry that he tells her that you come to the bedroom, and he decides that he has to kill her. So he calls her, she's sleeping. He goes there and he says, is all this beautiful dialogue, I'll switch off this light, then I'll switch off that light. If I switch off this light, I know from where can I kindle it. But if I can switch off that light, your life itself, I don't know from where do I kindle it. He gives all these dialogues. And then he takes a pillow and smothers her to death. Desdemona, poor, beautiful, humble Desdemona, the most devoted wife ever, says Shakespeare. She's killed on the bed. The audience is waiting. She struggles, and she collapses. And ultimately, he also stands there by the end. Everybody gets up and claps. The whole audience gets up and claps. The lady is not moving. Then they found out that he really killed her. An actor was playing the role of Othello. He got so involved in the role that he actually killed her. This routinely, every day, we are doing the same. Atma Hatya. You know what is the meaning of Atma Hatya? Atma Hatya is not the killing of physical body. That's what is the interpretation now. Each moment, I am killing my divinity by asserting the reality of the mind, body, and intellect. By asserting the reality of whatever is happening in this state. Each moment, I'm killing that divine principle. So we are all murderers, by the way. This is it. A wise person understands that, and he acts unattached. How he acts unattached? For the welfare of the world. If you see the ignorant person, there is no higher goal. As an ignorant person is attached to action, it's left there. There is no higher goal. Why is he acting? Just like that. More money, more enjoyment, more pleasure. That's it. Why is a wise person acting? For the welfare of the world. When you think of how much blessed you are in this world, how much blessed you are. I was reading an article recently, just came to my mind. There in Google News, I read this. There is this man somewhere in Mumbai, and he is a bookshop owner, small bookshop, and he gives books on rent for reading. I think so. He's somewhere in Andheri is last when I heard that. And he gives the books for reading and he charges 10 rupees. You can keep the book for how many days you want, but please return it back so that other people can read it. That is the condition. So he takes 10 rupees for that reading. Many people have come and his whole day he's sitting there in the shop and he's continuously reading books. He's constantly reading books. Many people have seen him and seen his attitude and they want to help him do better in life. And that person is saying, I have got everything I want. My needs are taken care of. I am earning enough. I don't need more. These books have helped me a lot because there are a lot of Dharma Granthas. I keep on reading it and I don't have any more desires to run around in the world. A bookshop keeper in a city, a maddening city, is sitting completely contented. Why? A higher goal, welfare of the world. I want to do something good to you. As soon as this thought comes that I want to do something good for you, you have put yourself in a position where you shrug your shoulders and say, I had enough. Multi-billionaire. I have blood in my body. All the organs are at present functioning. Every aspect of life is going smooth. It's all right. Even if there is a disturbance, I can change it. We'll move it. But I will never get agitated in my life. So as soon as the welfare of the world comes, you become better. Thought, when I am selfish, I don't think about anybody else. What's happening in my life? As soon as I think about somebody else's life, my life becomes better. And I taste that little happiness, little joy, content, which was not there before. And that joy content propels me to go further until a time comes where whatever you do is for Janasangraha. It is for everybody. Why are you doing this? This is my duty. Why it is your duty? Why it is not somebody else's duty? There are so many people who can do this, but you only do it. I don't know. There are 1,000 people who are doing different things. I don't know why I am doing it. I'm talking about you now. Okay. I feel that this society needs this kind of knowledge. I feel this society needs this kind of action, this kind of help, this kind of education. And that is why I need to do it. I have chosen myself as his, Lord Vishnu's equipment. Nothing but his wish will be fulfilled. HMV, you remember HMV's full form? His master's voice, not the political masters. His master's voice. So his or her, depending on whoever you are, doesn't matter. Only divinity will flow through me. Such a person will always, by default, function for the world because he himself doesn't have any desires. What more do you want? Swami Ramtirtha says, a little bit of a piece of bread on the table, a little bit of money in my purse, and a roof over my head. My life is set enough. What a beautiful attitude. At every given point of time in Mumbai, 85 to 90% people don't live in their own houses. It's to let or rent. So if you have a house which is one room, count your blessings. If at this age you are moving around, walking around, and there is nothing that happens to you, You are not falling down. You don't have any problems. Count your blessings. Therefore, since I have got everything nature can give me and perhaps more, all I can do now by default is to do something, contribute something, whatever meager contribution of knowledge I can put in this vast ocean of the great Mahatmas. All people have come and gone. A few drops from our side. That's it. That contribution without any arrogance is the highest. That's what this whole verse is. So, person who is wise, he also works in the same world, but how? Unattached. Why? He understands he is not these roles playing. He also understands he's not this individual also playing. He understands there is the supreme power within that functions and identifies only with that. So thank you very much, and we'll meet next class, which is on Monday. Thank you. Hari Om Tat Sat.